Honestly, I should have seen it coming. I really should have. The signs were there, hidden in the iCloud synchronization logs, buried in the passive-aggressive dinner toasts, screaming from the unread notifications on his phone. But love makes you blind, or at least it makes you stupidly optimistic. It was Tuesday, 7:45 p.m. I remember the time because the automated blinds, which I programmed, by the way, had just lowered to evening mode. I walked into the kitchen I designed. The Calicut gold marble island that I handpicked from a quarry in Italy 3 years ago. Santiago was sitting there, and next to him, of course, his mother Carmen. Carmen Serrano, the matriarch. A woman who wears pearls to breakfast and judges your soul based on your shoe brand. The air in the room was so cold you could preserve meat in it. "Valeria, sit down," Santiago said. He didn't look at me. He was staring at a spot on the marble, tracing a vein with his thumb. Nervous tick. "Is everything okay?" I asked, putting my bag down. My stomach did that thing, that sudden drop like when an elevator descends too fast. Carmen took a sip of her tea. "Santiago has something to give you, dear." She smiled. It wasn't a smile. It was a baring of teeth. Santiago slid a thick manila envelope across the island. The sound of the paper sliding on the stone. Shuck. It was deafening in the silence. I opened it. Petition for dissolution of marriage. Restraining order regarding the property at 142 Camino Real. I laughed. Literally. A short, dry, hysterical sound escaped my throat before I could stop it. Is this a joke? Santi? We just finished the renovation. The open house for the investors is next week. Exactly. Carmen interrupted. Her voice was smooth, like poisoned honey. The renovation is complete. The asset has reached its peak value. And frankly, Valeria, you've served your purpose. I looked at Santiago. My purpose? He finally looked up. His eyes were empty, glassy, like a doll's. Look, Val, it's not working. And Mom? The family, we think it's best if you leave tonight. The prenup is clear. Anything acquired under the Serrano family trust remains with the trust. The house, the furniture, the tech. It's all ours. My ears started ringing. High-pitched. I designed this house, I whispered. My hands were shaking, so I hid them under the table. I didn't just pick the cushions, Santiago. I rewired the entire electrical grid. I coded the KNX automation system from scratch. I built the server rack in the basement with my own hands while you were playing paddle with your investors. And you were paid a salary for it, Carmen snapped, placing her teacup down. Clink. You were an employee of Serrano Estates. Employees get fired. Wives get divorced. Today you're both. I stood up. My legs felt like jelly, but I locked my knees. You can't kick me out of my home. My name is on the design patents. Santiago sighed, a long, exaggerated exhale that smelled of expensive scotch. Read page 14. Val, Clause 6b. All intellectual property created during the marital union regarding Serrano Estates projects is automatically assigned to the trust. My lawyers drafted it while you were busy looking at tile samples. Clause 6b. I felt the blood drain from my face. I remembered signing that stack of papers 2 years ago. I was tired. I trusted him. I thought we were partners. Pack a bag, Santiago said, checking his Apple Watch. Security will escort you out an hour. Oh, and leave the server keys and the admin passwords on the counter. Carmen stood up, smoothing her skirt. She walked over to me, leaning close. She smelled of lavender and old money. Don't make a scene, dear, she whispered. You were good labor, but you were never really Serrano material. They walked out just like that. Left me standing in the kitchen I built, in the light I programmed, holding the papers that ended my life. I stood there for, I don't know, maybe 5 minutes. Just breathing. In. Out. I could hear the hum of the refrigerator, the soft whir of the HVAC system. The house was alive, and it was talking to me. You were good labor, she said. Admin passwords, he said. A strange calm washed over me. It started in my chest and spread to my fingertips. The shaking stopped. See, here's the thing about people like Santiago and Carmen. They understand ownership on paper, deeds, titles, LLCs, but they don't understand architecture. They don't understand systems. They thought the house was just walls and expensive furniture. They didn't realize that a smart home isn't just a house. It's a robot, and I was the only one who spoke its language. I looked at the security camera in the corner of the kitchen. The little red LED blinked at me. I wiped a tear from my cheek. Okay, I said to the empty room. You want the house? You can have the house. I walked over to the smart screen mounted on the wall. I didn't enter the admin password they asked for. Instead, I opened a hidden terminal window I had buried deep in the backend code 3 months ago. Back when I first saw a suspicious text on Santiago's phone from a contact named Lawyer, divorce. I called it Protocol Ghost in the Machine. I didn't delete anything. Oh no, that would be illegal. That would be destruction of property. I'm a professional. I just migrated the user permissions. I typed in a command line. Execute update 0.0. Owner, guest _ mode admin access. Revoked biometric lock. Active the screen flashed green once. Then it went black. I went upstairs, packed one suitcase, no clothes. Just my hard drives, my jewelry, and the dog's passport. Oh yes, I was taking the dog Sumi. As I walked out the front door, I saw Santiago and Carmen in the driveway, laughing. They were already looking at paint swatches for updates. Santiago shouted, "Did you leave the passwords?" I turned around. The sun was setting, casting long, dramatic shadows. It's all in the clouds, Santi, I said. Good luck with the open house. I got in my car. I didn't cry. I just waited. I drove about 2 blocks away, parked and pulled out my iPad. I opened the Serrano Manor app. Status, online. Current users, 2, Santiago, Carmen. Temperature, 22 degrees Celsius. Security, disarmed. Let's see how much you like the house when it hates you back, I whispered. I tapped the screen. Setting changed, climate control. Target temperature, 35 degrees Celsius, 95 degrees Fahrenheit. Lock controls. True. Then I tapped the lighting module. Strobe mode. Random interval. Start time, 3 a.m. And finally, the piece de resistance. The master bathroom smart toilet and bidet system, water pressure, maximum. Temperature, scalding. Sensor sensitivity, high. I watched the iPad screen sync. A little check mark appeared. This wasn't just petty revenge. They had a multi-million-dollar investor meeting at the house in 48 hours. They needed the house to be perfect. They needed the Serrano aesthetic. But they forgot one crucial detail about modern luxury homes. Without the internet, they're just expensive caves. And I just changed the Wi-Fi password to a 64-character encryption key that only existed in my head. I put the car in drive. My phone buzzed. A text from Santiago. Why is the XE off? The panel isn't working. I didn't reply. I just turned up the radio and drove into the night. The game had just begun. I checked into a Motel 6 about 20 miles out of town. The sheets were scratchy, and the SC unit rattled like a dying lawnmower. Honestly, it sounded like a lullaby compared to what I knew was happening at 142 Camino Real. I didn't sleep much. I just sat there, iPad propped up on the nightstand, watching the telemetry data stream in. It was like watching a heartbeat. A very panicked, erratic heartbeat. 3:14 a.m. Event log. Master bedroom. Lighting override triggered. Profile. Rave _mode _v2. I wasn't there, but I can paint you the picture. Imagine sleeping deeply in a room that cost $50,000 to furnish. Suddenly, the blackout shades, the ones made of heavy acoustic dampening fabric, shoot up. Whir slam. Street lights flood in. And then, the Lutron ceiling lights start flashing. Not blinking. Strobing. On. Off. 120 beats per minute. I saw the manual override attempts on my screen. Santiago pressed off. System denied. Santiago pressed OFF. By 5. System denied. User not recognized. I took a sip of my lukewarm motel coffee. Good morning, Santi. 7 a.m. The sun was up. The investors were arriving at 5 p.m. for the sunset cocktail walkthrough. My phone finally rang. It wasn't a text this time. It was a call. Caller ID. Hubby, soon to be ex. I let it ring once, twice. Then I sent it to voicemail. I wanted them to simmer. Literally. I checked the HVAC stats. Internal temp. 34 degrees Celsius, 93.2 degrees Fahrenheit. Humidity. 85%. Fan speed, 0%. Disabled. The house was essentially a giant marble-lined terrarium. Carmen gets migraines in the heat. She also sweats profusely, though she claims it's just a glow. By noon, that glow was going to look like a meltdown. 11:30 a.m. I was at a diner eating pancakes when the unauthorized access alert pinged. They had called someone. I opened the security camera feed for the server room in the basement. There they were. Santiago looking disheveled in a linen shirt that was already sticking to his back. Carmen, fanning herself with a folder, her hair noticeably frizzier than usual. And a young guy in a polo shirt, some poor technician from a local AV company. He was staring at the rack I built. It was a beauty, really. Clean cable management, color-coded Cat 6 lines, unified Dream Machine Pro at the top. But the lights on the server weren't blinking green. They were pulsing a slow, ominous red. I tapped into the audio feed. I don't understand, the technician was saying. He wiped sweat from his forehead. I can't even get into the BIOS. It's asking for a 2FA hardware key. Just hack it, Carmen screeched. We pay you people enough. Reset the damn thing. Ma'am, I can't, the kid stammered. This isn't a standard setup. Whoever built this created a custom firmware for the automation bridge. If I force a hard reset, it wipes the OS. The blinds, the locks, the pool pump, the sewage ejector system. It all goes offline. The house becomes a brick. Santiago kicked the server rack. Thud. Valeria, he muttered. She locked the kernel. Call her again. Carmen barked. The technician looked around nervously. Look, I can try to bypass the firewall, but it's going to take days to brute force this encryption. It's military grade. Who is your ex-wife? NSA? I smiled and closed the app. I'm not NSA. I'm just a woman who reads the documentation. 1:45 p.m. My phone rang again. Caller I, Carmen Serrano. I decided to answer this one. I put on my best sad, defeated ex-wife voice. Hello? Valeria! Carmen didn't waste time on pleasantries. What have you done? The house is an oven. The toilet covers won't open. The music system is stuck playing bagpipe music on loop in the guest wing. I'm sorry, Carmen, I said, picking at my nails. I don't work for Serrano Estates anymore, remember? Employee terminated. I don't have access. Don't play games with me, she screamed. The investors from Dubai are landing in 3 hours. They are coming to see a state-of-the-art smart villa, not a sauna that plays Scottish folk music. Fix it. Now. I can't, I said softly. I left the passwords on the counter. Did you lose them? Those passwords don't work. Oh, that's weird. Maybe the system flagged you as an intruder. You know, since the ownership status changed in the database. Security protocols are strict. Valeria! Santiago's voice came on the line. He sounded desperate. Val, please. We can't cancel. This deal, it's everything. The trust is leveraged to the hilt for this renovation. If they don't buy, we're underwater. Deep underwater. I paused. This was news. They were broke. The Serrano Empire was a house of cards. Well, that changed things. It meant the house wasn't just an asset. It was their life raft. And I was holding the pin. I'm really sorry to hear that, Santi, I said. But Clause 6B, remember? Intellectual property belongs to the trust. I can't touch it. Legally, I might get sued if I interfere with your property. I'll rip up the prenup, he blurted out. Santiago. Carmen gasped. I don't care, Mom. Val, listen. Come over. Fix it. I'll give you whatever you want. Just turn the AC on and stop the damn bagpipes. I'm afraid I can't come over, I said. Restraining order. Page 1, paragraph 3. I'm not allowed within 500 feet of 142 Camino Real. I wouldn't want to break the law. I hung up. Then I opened the Serrano Manor app again. I had one more surprise. The open house scenario. I had programmed it originally to dim the lights, play jazz, and scent the air with vanilla, but I had tweaked the code last night in the motel. Now the open house mode was linked to the irrigation system and the security fob. Cloak. 4:50 p.m. I drove back to the neighborhood. I parked down the street, just outside the 500-foot limit. I could see the driveway. 2 black SUVs pulled up. The investors, men in sharp suits, stepped out. They looked expensive. They looked serious. Santiago and Carmen ran out to meet them. They looked like they had just run a marathon in a rainforest. Sweat stains, frizzy hair, fake panic smiles. I watched through binoculars. Santiago was shaking hands, probably apologizing for the heat, explaining it was a tropical simulation, or some BS. He gestured for them to enter the house. I looked at my iPad. The GPS tracker showed 5 people entering the foyer. Showtime, I whispered. I didn't press a button. I didn't have to. The system was automated. Trigger. Front door close. Condition. Guest mode. Action. Execute Rebecca's _revenge. 5:05 p.m. First, the sprinklers. Not the lawn sprinklers. The indoor fire suppression mist. I had tagged the smoke detector sensitivity to 0.01%. Someone must have lit a cigar or even just breathed too hot. From my car, I saw the windows fog up instantly. Then the alarm. Not a burglar alarm. The voice evacuation system. A robotic voice, remarkably calm, boomed so loud I could hear it from the street. Critical system failure. Unauthorized BIOS detected. Asset liquidation protocol initiated. Please exit the premises. And then, the piece de resistance. The automated garage doors opened. The smart blinds rolled up. And every single television screen in the house, the 85-inch-old in the living room, the screens in the kitchen, the projection wall in the cinema room, turned on simultaneously. They didn't play a movie. They displayed the admin logs I had been saving for 2 years. Text messages between Santiago and his lawyer, emails from Carmen calling the investors gullible cash cows, and the blueprint of the hidden offshore accounts where they were hiding the construction loans. I saw the front door fly open. The investors ran out. They weren't walking. They were running. One of them was on his phone, screaming in Arabic. Santiago followed them, drenched in water, waving his arms. Carmen was sitting on the front steps, head in her hands. I started my car engine. The notification popped up on my iPad. System status. Purged. User Valeria has left the chat. I didn't get the house. But neither did they.